Good morning and welcome to our Teen Sunday School. We are heading back to see what other miracles Elisha did. So we stopped at where he healed the Shunammite woman's son. So, but now we're going to go right back to 2 Kings chapter 4. It's going to be the last couple verses in there, 38 through 44. And then we're going to talk about some other ones. This miracle was, well, in mine it says it heals poison stew and multiplies bread. I don't know much. Honestly, don't know much about this miracle because it's not
specifically paid attention.
Yeah. So it says, and Elijah came to Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land, and the sons of the prophets were sitting before him, and he said unto his servant, set on the great pot and seed pottage for the sons of the prophets. And one went out into the field to gather herbs and found a wild vine, and gathered therefore wild gourds his lap full, and came and shred them into the pot of pottage, for they knew them not.
That these past two verses have been a grammatical nightmare.
Yeah, it really has. I'm like, little. So they poured out for the men to eat. And it came to pass, as they were eating of the pottage, that they cried out and said, O thou man of God, there is death in the pot. And they could not eat thereof. But he said, then bring meal. And he cast it into the pot. And he said, pour out for the people, that they may eat. And there was no harm in the pot. And there came okay. So.
Okay, so it's like a famine, basically. A scarcity of life or something. So probably.
There's a famine. Yeah. Bring stuff to eat.
Seed pottage, yeah.
Seed pottage.
What an interesting term.
That is.
Such a weird way to say, boil some soup, please.
Right. So they went and got some herbs, and one of the herbs was death, poison. Was poison, and Elisha, he just took some meal, which was probably like cornmeal or something like that, and put it in the pot, and they poured it out, and they're fine.
I was just gonna say that I can't even imagine the first person who had to eat it after he healed it. I hope Elisha ate it first.
They probably all took the bite at the same time. And you're like,
well, they all would have died. It would be smart to be like
together.
the dumbest guy and just have it.
Well, I mean, he was a man of God, so they probably trusted him a lot.
True, but they just all almost died because they started eating the pottage. So they're like, I don't need that. And they're like, there's death in the pot. And he's like, eat
Stick
this.
some flour in there. It fixes it.
Yeah, because they're like, that's not going to do anything.
They knew it had to be a miracle because it was.
But man, that would be scary to take that first bite.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just sitting there for a minute, like waiting. Oh, is it gonna happen? Like waiting for you to start dying, and
then they're like, well, it tastes good anyway. So I mean, if I'm gonna die,
that's when we started adding flour to everything.
Yeah. Just to make sure.
Yeah, just hot dog, put some bread around it, and make it a corn dog.
Oh, talk about that guy's name?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where he's from.
Shalisha.
I said the Philistines came from Philastonia, so I mean, they're back to that Bible.
Shalisha. Oh, you have to do it. What's your name? My name is Shalisha. The next miracle that is talked about, Elisha, is what?
I was looking at the Desolation Girl.
I was talking about
I don't remember that.
The 20 loaves of barley.
Yeah. I know, I don't remember this happening.
Me neither. See, that's why I'm just like, you gotta read it. Somebody.
Yeah. And there came a man from Baal Shalisha, and brought the man of God bread the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and full ears of corn, and a husk thereof. And he said, give unto the people that they may eat. And his servitor said, what, should I set this before 100 men? He said again, give the people that they may eat. For thus saith the Lord, they shall eat and shall leave thereof. So he set it before them, and they did eat and left thereof according to the word of the Lord.
I don't understand why sometimes it's like a miracle happening, and you like write down all the details that happened before the miracle, and you leave no room to say what actually happened during the miracle. It's like, oh, they ate, and now it's left, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what else
like,
are you gonna say?
Well, like, I don't know, like you're feeding the 5,000. It's just like nothing went into why the miracle happened. It's like the water turned into wine. It's like they poured it out and it was wine.
Because that's
But
all
this
that
is
happened.
just- I know, but like
There's no way
You
to
feel like
explain it.
there should have been more detail.
Well, I mean, in this case, it's like they don't like the 5,000 people and 5 loaves. That was obviously a miracle. This one, it just says he had the corn and he had like barley, but still, I mean, it doesn't seem like there was because he didn't like break it and it multiplied.
yeah.
It was just they ate and there was
they were
some
all
left.
full, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't
It
say
doesn't
like
give you any more detail than what is.
it was multiplied or anything. It just said that they were eating and I don't know.
I mean, but the Lord said,
Yeah.
they shall eat. Give to the people that they may eat. They shall eat and shall eat thereof. So the Lord didn't put detail either.
I mean, he doesn't have to. Like,
Right.
Who
said
wrote
what's gonna
Kings?
happen.
They need like some grammar lessons. Or who translated
Yeah,
it? Like,
I stumbled over some words.
Yeah. Most big Joshua.
So there's another miracle of Elisha that I didn't.
I've never
Remember.
heard of that one.
I didn't
I
know
don't
that
remember
the
at all.
5,000 was foreshadowed at all.
Oh,
Well, like, I
well, you
didn't,
never know.
I didn't
Like
think
some-
there was a miracle like that in the Old Testament. But you know, you only get the 5,000 and 4,000. It's actually the
Yeah,
same
there's
thing.
talk about pretty much. Well, there's a lot of the miracles when you look back at the Old Testament and go to the New Testament, see that Jesus did. A lot of them were
Yeah.
performed before Jesus did them, like the child being raised from the dead. Elisha, the raise of the child from the dead. Now, feeding the 5,000 thing, which I had no idea
Yeah.
about at all. Jesus, he didn't part the water; he walked on it. So,
Yeah. I'm sure there was some time when like that wasn't recorded that he was like, let's see if I can do this too.
right?
He wouldn't need to. He really could do it. And he would be testing God. I mean, not really. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
no, I mean, he
Well,
was.
I don't know.
He was.
well, I know, but what would be the difference between saying, oh,
Well, I'm
I
not
can do
saying
this
it
and
was
jumping
for-
off the,
I'm not saying it was
the
for anybody
actual
else.
schedule?
No, it was
All right, now we are at one of the more popular ones that is talked about from Elisha, and that is Naaman, who had leprosy. It's a whole little thing. But Naaman was a captain who could say, you go here, and they would have to go, kind of thing.
very powerful.
A very powerful man. And, well, he got leprosy. And when you, Old Testament leprosy, you weren't supposed to be around anybody. And pretty much they kicked you out of the city. Like, they would be outside the gates of the city. They wouldn't even be allowed to go in.
Because beyond the actual deterioration that the disease gave you, it was it took over your entire nervous system, so you couldn't feel like you hurt yourself.
Right. So
Which
if
is
you're
more
out,
damaging than the actual disease.
yeah, it's crazy. So let's see. Let's get to where. Let's get to where he actually goes to Elisha. Okay, here. So verse 9. Can you read, Bill?
I can try.
Wait, not first. It's not verse 9.
Okay, kind of
It does start in verse 1. Let's just go ahead and start in verse 1. Because I was just going to find where he went, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of detail that
Yeah.
goes up to. Alright, so just 1 through 5, Bill.
Now
It's a lot.
Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was alone.
Okay,
You know,
he was a mighty man.
You know, yeah, this
He
is
was
like
a
this whole
leper.
list of accomplishments, like,
Yes,
but he was a man.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
take
yes.
it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I know, right?
And the Syrians had gone out by companies and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid I think they
It's
should have
gonna be
given
the
them more.
kids.
Well, no, I think they should have given more of a list because, like, the series went in by companies and they got just like one little maid out of that. And the Syrians had gone out by companies and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife. And she said unto her mistress, "Would God my Lord were with the prophet."
What?
Oh my goodness.
Wait. Say it again.
Would God my Lord were with the prophet that is in Samaria! Exclamation point. For he would recover him of his leprosy.
My Lord, she's talking about
Naaman.
Yeah, it's lowercase.
I wish Naaman were with the prophet that is in Samaria. For he would recover him of his leprosy.
Okay.
There we go.
Continue.
And one went in and told his Lord, saying, "Thus and thus said the maid that is of the land of Israel."
So and so.
I wish we did that more. Like, just like we don't even say like, yeah, it's like,
Who it
yeah,
is?
well, no, like the thus and thus. This is what she said. You know?
Yeah.
Thus and thus said this person.
The lady that is of the land of
Yeah. And the king of Syria said, Go and I will send a letter unto the king of Israel. And he departed and took with him 10 talents of silver and 6,000 pieces of gold and 10 changes of raiment. I don't know, like clothes. They always have that where, like, if there's a big gift, they always have, like, Samson did that with the changes.
They already gave it
If
clothes.
somebody gave me clothes, I would be grateful.
But, like, what if they don't fit? It's just like,
That's true.
I guess they
that
are
would be right.
tunics. I don't, but, like, you know.
It's just something that
But
they.
you'd have to know what their size is, and then he's just like, I'll bring all this stuff
Well, I
to
mean,
this guy.
to be
that-
fair, they
They
all wear
only-
big tunics.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, Now when this letter is come unto thee, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman my servant to thee, that thou mayest recover him of his leprosy. That's just bad writing. He could have said something about the prophet, and he's just acting like it's a king's duty. And it came to pass when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes and said, Am I God to kill and to make alive, that this man would send unto me to recover a man of his leprosy? Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he seeketh a quarrel against me. I feel like this happens so much with, like, the teams are texting each other, and like somebody says something in the wrong wording, and they take it the totally wrong way, and everybody just gets mad. He's trying to make a fight with me. He's trying to. And it was so when Elisha, the man of God, had heard the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he said to the king, saying, Wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel.
That's interesting.
That's probably why they kept giving. They
The
gave
rending of
clothes.
the clothes was probably
Why they kept giving them changes of
Yeah.
raiment.
That makes sense. I
He's
mean,
going to have 9 now because the king rent his. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariot and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean.
the entitlement of this entire place.
And he like sent a messenger. He didn't even come out. That would what people made me mad, even if he had said anything.
Yeah, that's
something.
Well,
the
that's
next,
like
read the next
Jesus.
verse. That's literally what it says.
Yeah. But Naaman was wroth and went away and said, Behold, I thought he shall surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God and strike his hand over the place and recover the leper.
He,
I thought he was going to call him down and slap me. This is not it.
Yeah.
well, he ain't Jesus either. He knew better.
Yeah. Are not
Not that
Abana
Jesus didn't know better.
or part rivers of Damascus better than all the waters of Israel? Man, not washing them and be clean. So he turned and went away in a rage. I feel
Okay.
like that happens way too much. Like, you know, you live in Alabama or something, and you're like, oh, the Mississippi River's way better than whatever river, you know, or something like that, where you're just like, oh, this place is way better. It's like grass is greener on the other side. Where you're just like, oh, those are way better. I can bathe in those and get clean.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the River Jordan was dirty.
Yeah, it
It was
was.
a dirty river, so
But the point behind him going to that river, though.
Yeah.
it was the symbolism of him giving up what he thought was the big thing that he needed to do, or
Yeah.
that was going to be done to him, and then he's like, oh, well, this isn't what I thought was going to happen.
Alright, here we go. And
I
his
think that was a
servant.
mistake right there.
Yeah. Setting an expectation for how God was going to work it.
And his servants came near and spake unto him and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee to do some great thing, wouldst thou not have done
There
it?
you go.
How much rather than when he saith to thee, Wash and be clean? Then he went down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God. And his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah. So when you hear like preachers and stuff talk about this, talk about Naaman and his like going to the Jordan, they say, well, who is somebody else? Somebody preacher said he went down the first time, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Then down the second time, nothing still didn't happen. And they were talking about, you know, how you keep going and going and going, but then it's like when he got to where, I think, what time? 4th or 5th time, he saw something
he
started
started seeing
something.
something.
And so he didn't just dip, he just went swim.
Yeah.
I think it probably didn't happen until the 7th time, honestly. I mean, it could have happened that way. I think probably the way God works, he wouldn't have had, you know, you probably wouldn't have
Because if it
had
would have
Because
been
if it-
gradual, then
Yes.
it's like, oh, well, I could stop anytime.
He would have
Well,
thought.
that and like, you know, God doesn't really, you know, the way he works is he doesn't give you any, you know, confirmation. He wants you to still have faith. He's giving you a choice to stop.
Right. Well, so like if he would have dipped 2 times and was healed, he would have dipped those other 5 times.
Right.
Right.
Well, and he would have been like, oh, look, you know, wait, hold on. How, leprosy, was he, because like, leprosy doesn't affect the skin. I mean,
Yeah, no.
it does?
Yeah.
It makes the nerve endings.
It is nerve endings, but it's also it also affects your skin. It gives you
Oh.
the white.
Oh.
stuff.
Yeah, I guess. I was just wondering,
Read the
because
book of like Leviticus. It's
No,
like everything you
no,
need to
no,
know. In detail.
No.
The snowy patch or whatever.
That's what they called it.
yeah. Alright, so he was clean.
So he was clean. But his, I don't know, the servant girl said if he would have told you to do some great thing, you would not even been hesitant about it, like at all. You just went and done it.
Right.
That's the thing about miracles, though. Sometimes with miracles, people think, oh, it's about to be this big old show. Whereas sometimes it's just a simple little thing that you do.
Sometimes God does work like that, like with Elijah and
Yes.
sending down fire from heaven.
Yes.
But sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes
But
it
still a
doesn't.
small voice.
Yeah.
You know?
It don't always happen that way. Now, Elijah, that right there, they almost needed to see something like that.
Yeah,
Because they were on the
display.
brink of getting fire brimstone anyway.
Yeah.
So they were just in a place where they weren't just going to see that fire. They were
Yeah.
feeling it too. But there's different ways when it comes, different ways miracles work, I think, sometimes with people. Because sometimes it could just be somebody saying a simple little prayer to you, or you saying a simple little prayer. And then sometimes it takes time and faith to believe that it's going to happen. And then I'm sure there's a lot of stories of not just here in the Bible, but people can tell about, I prayed and this is what happened. It didn't happen right then, like Naaman. It didn't happen right then, but it happened later on, kind of thing. But Naaman that was one of the more common miracles talked about from Elisha. Now there's a whole bunch of other ones too.
We're not going to read the next part.
It's got a lot
That's
of,
my
like-
favorite part of that story.
What, talking about the gifts?
Gaze,
Oh no, I don't want to talk about. Well, I think it's Gehazi part of the.
No, I trust you go get the stuff from him after Elisha says no.
No. Well then, yeah.
Oh, my master had sex with
Two
me. Two sons of the prophets have come. We need some clothes.
Well, yeah, but Gehazi it says that he is
And then it turns into a leopard.
Yes,
I
he
just
does.
know, which again, the details. I guess. Oh wait, it actually turns you white.
Yeah.
I originally thought that like that.
Well, that wasn't a miracle.
It's
I'm,
funny
I'm
because
reading it, and it's Gehazi stayed a leper
Yeah.
because the leprosy thereof, therefore of Naaman shall cleave unto thee until I see forever.
oh my
And went
goodness.
out from his presence a leper as white as snow. So
And
do
it
you
takes
think?
a while to get to the
Originally,
point,
I
though.
thought that meant that he like, because I didn't realize when I was like little that leprosy actually made you white. I thought it like did something else to your skin, or like red or something. So I was like, I wonder. I was like, oh man, that must mean that he like was a leper, but like just inside or something. That
It's the outside of the skin.
I always thought that leper was like
Look at you.
almost like not cancer, but like you know where it like just eats your skin. Because I
Yeah.
thought that because you know you see people that have bandaged fingers or whatever, but it wouldn't be that. It would be because of the.
It's because
you
of
know,
the nervous system attack.
Yeah, I think the bandages was because they didn't realize they hurt
Although
themselves.
Yeah.
Gehazi was a terrible liar.
Oh yeah, whatever.
But he went and he stood before his master. And Elisha said unto him, Whence comest thou, Gehazi? And he said, Thy servant went no whither.
No one.
And it's lying to like
Yeah.
God's literal prophet.
Well, and
he said to him,
telling
"Why
you
not my
terrible,
heart
I
with
could
you
have
when
said
the
I
man
could have
turned
said
me
I was
down?"
going to go say goodbye to Naaman. Hey, I appreciated you coming or something. No one.
Well, now that I think about this, okay, so it says, unto thee and unto thy seed forever. So do you think, just thinking about this,
I don't think he died. Like
Gehazi?
What?
like I don't think it was like fatal leprosy. I think because under his seed forever, that means he would have to at least live long enough to have kids and give them the
They
leprosy.
may have already had kids, so we don't know.
I would think if he was running around with Elisha the prophet, he would
Yeah,
have had kids.
he would be married. But think about
marry a
the
leper,
lepers,
though.
the lepers in the
Well,
New
if
Testament.
he didn't have kids, so then it would technically.
There were probably families with leprosy.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but it says
but like
unto
under
his
thy seed forever. But it could have just
Forever.
been him. Because like if he didn't have any kids, then it would have just been him, and it would have still been.
He
true.
had to have kids then. Because for him
Because
to
Elisha
say,
said.
yeah.
Well, no, it's still his seed. It's his generation, even if it's just him. Like it didn't pass down any further, but it's to his seed.
No.
His
His seed
had to
is
end
literally
somewhere.
his kids.
His
Yeah.
seed had to end somewhere.
Yeah.
Right, it's gonna
Great.
end somewhere, but it's not.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is that you hear about you don't know the stories about how the lepers got leprosy in the New Testament. So, is that
So
part of
maybe
Gehazi's seed?
Maybe it was
What if that one Tim? What if that one
genetic
leper
for
that
only
came-
one person.
But I wonder if that one leper that came back to Jesus wouldn't that be cool with like Gehazi?
It's like-
be a great grand.
He's like,
And then
I'm
it
just,
would be like the good kind of like full circle moment because
And then
he
would
came
heal
back to Jesus like Gehazi ran to Naaman.
and he
That
would
would be
heal, and
cool.
he
That
would
would
have
be
healed
really
it. So I don't think it would have gone down.
nope, it would have stopped there.
Yeah.
See, I want to know now.
Yeah.
It would've
you
stopped
see?
That
right
would be
there.
the best full circle
Yes,
thing
yes,
ever.
It
yes,
could have
yes.
happened.
It would have stopped. So what we're saying, if you didn't hear what we're saying, was Gehazi, who was Elisha's servant, he disobeyed Elisha and went back to Naaman and got stuff that Elijah pretty much told him not to take.
Yeah.
Well, when Gehazi went back to Elisha,
I
he
don't
lied to
think he
him.
told him not to take it as far as himself.
Did he say?
But,
Okay, check that too.
well, sorry. Well, actually, he kind
As
of.
the Lord liveth before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused.
But then Naaman said, "Shall there not then, I pray thee, be given to thy servant 2 mules, burn no earth, for thy servant will
But he
henceforth
said-
offer neither burnt offering nor sacrifice unto other gods, but unto the Lord. In this thing that Lord pardon thy servant, that when my master goes up in the house of Naaman to worship there, and he leaneth on my hand, and I bow myself in the house of Rimmon, when I bow myself in the house of Rimmon, the Lord pardon thy servant in this thing." And he said unto him, "Go in peace." I don't even think he answered him by giving the servant the mules.
He didn't.
Yeah, he just was like, "Hey, you can leave." But
So why
he never
was it-
said not to. He just didn't take
Yeah.
it. But then,
But
and
the
his,
other stuff, he said no.
and his
Well,
reason
I think
for
it's
that
because-
was he said, "Is it time to receive money and to receive garments and olive yards and vineyards and sheep and oxen and men servants and maidservants?" It doesn't really answer him at all. There's
No,
no
it doesn't.
reason. It's
But
just him getting mad.
I think it's the thing too that Gehazi lied to Elisha.
That's true.
Because he said, but Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said, well, he didn't just lie to Elisha, he lied to Naaman.
I'm sure if he had actually had pure intent and had gone to get some for Elisha.
Yes.
Well, he
If
also
he
lied.
thought it
Yeah,
would
he
be
also lied
better.
to Naaman to get it.
Yes, he lied to Naaman to get it
Yes.
and said that, then, because that not only did he lie to Naaman, but it made Elisha seem like a liar also. Or one that changes his mind because he,
I
know,
wonder
kinda,
if Naaman ever visited Elisha and they talked about that.
Probably not.
well, so,
Every random
The
thing.
story-
Hey, you remember when your servant came back? You got that stuff in the
No,
street.
maybe Elisha brought it up because Elisha
Yeah.
knew everything. Because he said, "Went not my heart with thee when the man turned again from his chariot to meet thee? As your
Yeah,
father received my
that's
received
like-
garments and all the earth and vineyards and sheep and oxen." And then
that's
the-
crazy too.
What?
So he already knew.
It's like a police officer, like, hey, if you know why I pulled you over, and then just asking like a rhetorical question to tell you why he pulled you over that didn't have anything to. It was just that doesn't tell you. It's like, is it a time to do this? And like,
Right.
it's just not a.
I think
reason.
Elisha was seeing though if he was going to tell him the truth, even though he knew already.
Yeah.
Well, because he lied to Elisha and lied to Naaman about Elisha, Gehazi became a leper, and it wasn't just Gehazi himself, but it was his seed forever.
Yeah.
And so what we're talking about was New Testament, where there's lepers, and Bill brought up where he was talking about the 10 lepers, and what if the one that came back to Jesus was part of Gehazi's seed, and that's actually where the leprosy stopped. And so Laney said it'd be like
A full circle moment.
Yes, a full circle moment. How Naaman, right?
Yeah, because Naaman came and then left,
Mhm.
and Elisha told him no about the gifts and everything. But then Gehazi ran back to Naaman, like the leper ran back to Jesus.
Yes.
So it's like the positive. I'm trying to think of the word. It's like the opposite of what Gehazi did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
That
we're
would be
trying
really
to
cool. And then maybe
figure out, yeah.
if he healed him of leprosy, then because Jesus is the one person that can counteract forever.
Yes.
I'll
So-
copyright the screenplay.
Yeah.
Great movie, the Gehazi.
The newest
following
episode of The
line.
Chosen.
Yeah, following the line down from Gehazi.
Yes. So we're just talking about that, and we're just kind of,
Just headcanons.
yep,
Yeah.
hoping.
Yeah.
The leper wars, Gehazi edition.
Well, when you think about it, though, what if that's really something to look? I don't know if we can find like the history of Gehazi and his.
Because I don't know if there are any clues to
There's
like
not
the
any.
man's identity.
There's nothing else after.
I wonder if his solar food is anything. I'm interested now. I'm gonna try
Yeah.
to
Well, there's. Servant
Continue.
What?
Well, I knew Naaman was going to be a long one, though.
Yeah.
You want to just do the
What's the what?
Oh, the
does
axe
it,
head is
does
in
it
it.
have any information, anything like that about?
Any genealogy stuff?
No, it
It
just says
probably-
his servant before we moved Shemonette woman.
Okay.
So probably not.
All right. So let's go ahead. The axe head foot is pretty awesome.
Yes.
All right. So let's go ahead. We're gonna do one more before we close. It's chapter 6. Let's go to chapter 6. 2 Kings, chapter 6. And the sons of the prophets said unto Elisha, Behold now the place where we dwell with thee is too straight for us. Let us go, we pray thee, unto Jordan, and take thence every man of me, and let us make us a place there, where we may dwell. And he answered, Go ye. And one said, Be content, I pray thee, and go with thy servants. And he answered, I will go. So he went with them, and when they came to Jordan, they cut down wood. But as one was felling a beam, the axe head fell into the water, and he cried and said, Alas, master, for it was borrowed. And the man of God said, Where fell it? And he showed him the place, and he cut down a stick and cast it into it in thither, and the iron did swim. Therefore said he, Take it up to thee, and he put it on his hand and took it.
The
The
word
stick
felling,
was a magnet. I see the trick.
the usage of the word felling there, it reminds me of the video where it's like people in the north, we're calling a turn signal because it signals when we're about to turn. People in the south, we're calling a blinker because it go blink.
Yeah.
Felling.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So they were cutting down wood, and the axe head fell in the water. Elisha, where did it fall? Right here. Okay, let me have that stick. Toss the stick, and
That had to be a
boom.
pretty big stick because he said he cut down a stick.
What did he cut it down with?
Well, somebody else might have did it.
The
But-
other axe head fell off.
He just threw the stick in the water, and boom, there's the axe head. Question, how did the axe head float? Those things are heavy.
They are.
They're weighted, like it's metal. So it should have just,
It did, and then
Yeah.
it was like, now it's one of the little plastic ones just floating on the water.
She's in a little tight sack.
Right?
well, I mean, I've been there. You know, like you lose something that was somebody else's, and then you freak out. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's scary because then you
Amazon.
have to. Then you have to face the person, and you're
Yes. See
like,
what
"You know, this
happened
thing that I borrowed
was,
that you're really supposed to
Axes
be
were
careful with."
huge back
back
then.
then, they
Yeah.
made them themselves.
Yeah,
I mean,
So
like,
the
and they
net-
had to use.
it's not
them
like you
for
could just go
anything.
buy another axe.
Well, like if you borrowed it for like a day or whatever to fell down the beam or whatever you do, and they had to chop their firewood, you know, anything, they couldn't do that with the axe guns. And they probably would give you an axe again.
Right. I mean, if I
That-
gave something that I spent a lot of time making to somebody else and then they lost it, I wouldn't give them anything else for a while.
Right.
You know.
Well, that's why he like, alas, master.
Alas.
For it was borrowed. Like, excuse me, sir.
And I think it's kind of funny that Elisha kind of sounds like he's dealing with like a little kid.
Yeah.
It's like he cried and was like,
Where did
he's like,
it fall?
where did it fall? It's okay, cut down. Here's a stick. You see the stick? And then he's sitting in the water and it's
Pick
like,
it
oh,
up.
it's funny. Come on,
Like-
pick it up.
But how do you explain that?
No,
Don't.
you don't.
It's funny because this is one of the.
Said it did swim. It may not have floated. It may have like actually.
I see it like this is obviously like a really impressive miracle when you
Yes.
think about it, but also it's a really like it's one of the little things
Yeah.
because like it,
It's like a
nobody
few
was gonna
sheep.
die.
No.
I mean, unless once the person made another axe head, they went just like they're like you lost my last one. I had to spend like
That was the
months
best
on it."
one. That was passed down from generation.
Yeah.
Oh, I
But-
borrowed that axe.
Wait, I borrowed that and I gave it to you to borrow.
Yeah.
So now we both. But yeah, it's,
they both cried
that-
on the back. It was borrowed.
right. That was one of the little things because it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nobody. It wasn't a serious issue for more than like one or two people. So that's cool. I think.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, all his other ones are too, but that one's it's just a small little thing.
Yeah, that one's interesting
That's like-
because it's like he didn't have to do that.
Is that a fire? No, somebody's chambers over there. Unless I just saw something.
No, see that. Let me go over look at
I ain't crazy. Well, yeah, I am.
it.
But not. I don't know. I just saw something kind of like. Okay, so thinking about one of Jesus' simple, like little miracles. What can you think? What do you think of?
The coin and the fish.
Yeah. So
Right,
that
that
had a
was
lot
just-
of meaning for the song.
Yeah,
And no one probably knew about it except for Peter about how it actually happened. Like,
yeah, because he was the only one. He was the one that was.
Or Jesus.
Yeah.
I feel like the fishnet thing. I feel like that was kind of like a small miracle because it didn't matter to very many people, even though it was like a lot of fish. You know, it wasn't. It was more of an example.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of little miracles that have powerful, more powerful,
Well, the water and the
Powerful
wine.
really like more, almost more meaning than some of the big ones.
Yeah.
The
some
water
of
and
it
the
was
wine
really,
was
like,
big. Like,
That
not-
was
big, but like only only people who knew was probably Mary, his disciples, and the servants who poured the water in.
Yeah.
Other than that, no one really
Nobody
knew.
knew. The king, they said the best wine for last.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
even know how it happened.
That could be a metaphor for how blind we are to what's actually going on in the world and the actual forces that are behind them.
I'm telling you, you need to listen to this present darkness or piercing the darkness. Pray to heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Those are good. Good in the daytime, though, I reckon.
Yeah, daytime. Mike Freddy lives in the daytime.
Yes. But it's real. But it tells you.
I read
that's
his
how they
kids'
put-
books and I made the mistake of accidentally listening to one of his adult books and I was like, I gotta turn on his kid book again. That was a while ago, but like, yeah, I didn't understand his house. And I was like,
Oh,
this is
Oh, I've heard a lot about House.
This is a good story. Oh no! And then it was
Yeah.
Very spiritually involved.
charged. Yeah.
Yes, it really is. So even the little, like we're just discussing before the discussion.
Yes.
The little ones, even the little miracle has a powerful meaning behind it. Even the big one has a powerful meaning behind it. Whatever the size of the miracle, it is still a miracle. And so I hope that you got something out of the miracles that we talked about with Elisha. Faith. It takes faith, believing that the miracle is going to happen. And with the little faith that we have, make it go a long way. Because it can. Believing and knowing that the God that we serve, that it's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen. And I think sometimes that's some of our issues. We have a way that we think it should happen, and then it doesn't happen that way. Naaman. He had a way that he thought his miracle, his healing should happen, but it didn't happen that way. And so, if we would just continue to just believe in God for our miracles, they'll happen, but the way that God, sees fit for them to happen. Hope you enjoyed our Sunday school lesson, and pray that we'll see you in our Sunday morning service.